On May 16th, Sony confirmed through their PlayStation blog that Syphon Filter would be making a return as one of the few games featured in their classic games under their new PS Plus program. Back in March, they announced that the PlayStation Plus would be changing from a single system to a 3-tiered system, providing different levels for players to pay for from Essential, Extra, and Premium. Essential would be the normal base program when it comes to the expected benefits of PS Plus, like multiplayer access, discounts on games and DLC, along with cloud storage for saves. The monthly PlayStation 5 and 4 games that are provided to the players will not change as well. PS Plus Extra is where things get a bit more interesting. For an increased price, you get everything from the Essential tier, along with a catalog of PS5 and PS4 games to play at any time. The highest tier, PS Plus Premium, is where Syphon Filter comes into play. With Premium, you get everything from the Essential and Extra tiers, along with the PS3 streaming, and a catalog of PS1, PS2, and PSP games to play at any time. There's also time-limited trials for new games in this tier as well. Now, Sony has provided their full list of games coming. The PS4 and PS5 list is a good set of games, with some rather new titles like Returnal, and while there are many great titles including games like Days Gone, Alienation, and even others that deserve more attention like the Gravity Rush games, many of the titles have been provided through PS Plus or have already been on significant discounts. Furthermore, what is interesting is how Ubisoft Plus games are included as well, as part of the Extra and Premium tiers. This means you will have access to even more games. Oddly, none of the Splinter Cell games are included here. Now, sadly, the PS3 games are exclusive to streaming, and this is something I hope Sony works to allow you to download these games like the other games on this service. I understand that the PS3 is hard to emulate, but some very talented people are slowly getting there for the PC, so I would think that Sony could do this much faster. When it comes to the classic games for the original PlayStation, we only have a handful at launch, and outside of a few titles, this list does not make a strong statement for the only reason to get the premium tier, at least not right away. The Worms games are generally really fun. Ape Escape is good, but I think Tekken 2 and Syphon Filter 1 are the two big draws from this list. The Tekken series is great and a staple of the PlayStation family, and is still going strong to this day. But something like Syphon Filter is not only a great game, but also a classic in the stealth action genre, and more importantly, deserves more attention. Now, like I said, I am a bit disappointed with the set of PS1 titles. The reasoning for this might be that Sony is going for a bit of a soft launch for these classic games. But even still, when you are launching a new revamped program, you want to make a strong case for people to become early adopters of the highest paying tiers. I think Sony could have done a much better job in this department. The number of titles is a bit slim, but Sony could have focused on mixing in a nice amount of big hitters, along with forgotten and hidden gems. While Syphon Filter 1 and Tekken 2 are good choices, I think Sony should have included some other titles as a means to round out the initial selection much better, and provide an even bigger draw. For example, some of the more known games from this time like Metal Gear Solid or any of the Final Fantasies, or even Medal of Honor would have been awesome to include. Mixed into this could have been titles like Tenchu or really hidden and fun ones like Tiny Tank. Now, while I think Sony fumbled the amount of games that they should have included initially, there are two comments I want to make on it, and one that could honestly be a saving grace for something like Syphon Filter. As a comment on the overall system, it appears the new titles will be added in both the middle and at the end of the month, so new classics will potentially be added twice a month, and could mean that Sony is going for a slow ramp up for these games. So the offerings might be a bit slim now, but within a few months it could look a lot more tempting to try. My second point mainly relates to Syphon Filter. Since for the start for this new PS Plus Premium, the amount of PS1 games is slim, Syphon Filter stands out even more among the titles. This means that it could give another chance for this game to shine and potentially find a new audience for it. Anyone buying PS Plus Premium is probably interested in at least trying the older games, and with the volume of games being so small, Syphon Filter will be tried by new people and more often considering the low amount of options, and how Syphon is still great to play to this day. So while I am disappointed with the current amount of what games they have to offer, the saving grace is one that Syphon Filter is officially coming back in some form, and it will easily stand out against all the other classic titles. Now, I may be reading a bit too much into this, but the fact that Syphon Filter was included in this initial list means that Sony seems to care about this series still, and is maybe trying to see if there's an audience for it now. There is a large group of Syphon Filter fans that run several websites, Discord servers, and subreddits continually showing their love for this great series. But Sony might be using these classic games as a means to see what interests there are for these games today. Sony can probably see what the stats will be on these games as well, like how often people play them and for how long. My point is that if something like Syphon Filter resonates with enough new players that never played it before, it could result in a complete resurrection of the entire series. The stealth action genre is still a niche genre, but it's also a space that is honestly begging for more quality titles. The Syphon Filter series fills that void very well, and with the last entry ending on a cliffhanger, historical fans would love to see a proper continuation. There have been hints that Sony is planning on releasing many of the Syphon Filter games through their new PS Plus service, as many of the other titles have been rated for the PS4 and 5. Now, I biasly want to see this series come back. I love it and have a great respect for what it accomplished for the stealth genre. A new game, if written and done well, could be just what stealth action players would want. Now, switching gears back to the PS Plus service, it appears Sony alludes to that if you already had purchased some of these classic games when they were available on the PS3, then when they become available on the PS4 and 5, you can play them without even having the PS Plus premium tier. This is really interesting, as it seems we'll be able to buy these games individually if you're not interested in paying for the premium tier. On the surface level, this is a nice option for the consumer, and I hope it's offered for most games. Another thing I want to note is that I hope the emulation is good. It seems like it's going to offer many of the expected options, like being able to save at any time along with rewinding the game. I hope that this emulation on the PS4 and 5 is good, as anyone who has experimented on the PC knows that there's a great amount of options there. Because if Sony's official offerings are subpar, the gaming community will rightly not be happy with it. I am cautiously optimistic about this entire new program. It really isn't Sony's solution to Xbox Game Pass, but it's something completely different. I am eager to see how Syphon Filter will play on my PS5, and I'm honestly just happy to see this series come back in some form. But I hope that Sony is smart about this and uses these classic titles as a means to see what people are interested in. And if Syphon Filter is getting a decent amount of attention, I think it would be great for a new game. If Sony isn't already planning it already, they need to implement trophies for the classic games, as that would be a great way to get more eyes on them. Plus, returning back to older titles to earn some trophies sounds like a nice excuse to play some of these classics again. And for anyone new who's going to be trying Syphon Filter for the first time, yes, it is going to look dated, but in many ways the level and gameplay designs holds up really well, and provides something very fresh compared to the hand-holdy nature of many modern titles. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you'd like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.